Give me that, hey, cause y'all ain't. Give me that, cause y'all ain't. Give me that, I gotta amp it up, cause y'all ain't loud enough. I gotta amp it up, cause y'all ain't loud enough. See, no, amp it up, it ain't loud enough. Been plugged in, I'm powered up. Got more time in, I'm houred up. Blessings coming down, I'm showered up. We got the fame in the name, yeah, you heard of us. Ways you can do the same, you ain't heard enough. We'll grab a seat, grab a plate, yeah, we serving up. Won't cost a thing, free game, yeah, we serving up. Yeah, amp it up, loud enough. 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 Amp it up, loud enough.
What's going on, people? It's your boy Chaz C. No Roper. I am here for another episode of Amplifier. Check this out. This is the last one of the year, so I had to do it big. I had to reach deep down in my back pocket and pull this one out, right? Because we've been on the incline this whole season, and to finish it out for the finale of the year, I had to finish it out in a big way, big like Beyoncé, big like Justin Timberlake, big like NSYNC, big like Clark-Sheard, big like 5 Grammys. Now listen, I've been nominated, but I lost every time. I'm just gonna keep it real. Being nominated is cool. It's a great. I got a little thing on the wall with the little thing to go around your neck. I got that. But guess what? I lost. But this gentleman I'm bringing today, he won 5 times. So I really want to stop by his crib and put one right here. Just one. He got 5. He can let me hold one and just sit it right in the middle of the table. But this brother right here, man, he is a master of sound, an architect of sonics. And when I tell you the word producer is used loosely these days, this brother right here is what the definition of production means. Now, there were many who tried to, when him and his production partner came out, they tried to emulate. And they could probably emulate some of the riffs and runs that his partner was doing, or some of the melodies, but what they couldn't get was that sonics and production that he brought to the team. And when you can't duplicate that, there's gonna always be something missing. So, without further ado, I want to introduce this good brother, my friend, my good brother, Mr. Paul PDA Allen of PaJam. Y'all show him some love.
I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it.
Man, thank you for flying in. Listen, this brother here, man, I call him, I'm thinking he about to Hollywood me, right? Because you know where everybody big, how they can do. I call this brother, I feel like we known each other for 30 years. I ain't gonna lie.
For sure.
It was like, she was like, man, whatever you need, man, we gonna figure it out, man. Let me look at my calendar, I'm gonna get right back to you. By the time we hung up, he said, I could do this date. I'm like, dang, that was quick. So I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you taking your time away from your family, man. Hopping on the plane, coming in to share some knowledge with the folks here in Milwaukee, man. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, man.
Man, for sure, man.
Appreciate all the things that you're doing, man. Keep going. We need these platforms. We need people to speak out, talk, educate, so people can learn and just not just hear about the information, but get the information for real. So
absolutely,
this is dope, man, for sure.
Man, for sure, man. Yeah. So listen, I want you to tell the people. Wait, now listen. Back in the day when we was coming up, we used to always be like, man, because I grew up in the church, Kojic church, like everybody else, right? Okay. So we would come to Detroit, and we would go there. The musicians would be slamming, and we were like, man, we got to figure out how to do what they doing over there.
Yeah.
So talk to the people how you got your start, man. Let's get there. Let's start the youngsters.
Being born in church, man, the Kojic church is the same kind of thing. Midnight musicals.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So our platform as a kid, kids don't have it like that no more.
Right.
You know what I mean? So our educational learning was just different because, you go to a late night musical and you're 4 years old, and the Winans, the Rance Allen, the Clark sisters, and Tommy Whitfield, all these people, you know what I mean, are performing on the same show no matter what time it is, and nobody's getting paid.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So everybody's waiting. So you got a full packed out mega church, right? Because that's what they call it now.
Yep.
But back then it was called Cathedral Center, right?
Yes.
And it's packed out at 4 in the morning. People just waiting to see who's gonna come up next.
Wow.
Who's gonna come up last? Who's closing? And most of the times it was Rance because he came the furthest.
Yes.
But Detroit, man, just it harbored a bunch of musicians. So, when my mom and dad would say, "Hey, let's go to church." I was always the kid that was like, "Yo, mom, we gotta get to church on time. We gotta get to church on time." Because if we don't get to church on time, I'm stuck with tambourine. I'm stuck playing the bongos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but if you get there a little early, you can jump on the drums, the keys,
Yeah.
Bass. They'll have the stuff there.
Yeah.
But whoever's there first,
get on.
Get on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, I'm playing tambourine. I'm mad. I'm on the front row. Go in the back, heat up the bongos. So that's how it started. You know what I mean? And so that just propelled me and pushed me to play everything. So people ask all the time, like, what do you play? I play everything.
Right.
Because I grew up literally playing everything. Whatever was available in church, that's what I learned. So it was guitar, it was bass, it was organ, it was keys, it was drums, it was bongos, then it was the congos.
Facts.
So it was just a lot of different things, man. So in the church for sure.
And it makes sense, man, when we listen to your production.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about, We Must Praise,
Yeah.
or all those type of records you guys did back in the day.
Yeah. And it's the 20th anniversary right now.
That project.
Man,
Man, let's show some love for that. That's big, man.
We got an anniversary remaster coming out in a couple weeks, man. So,
That's dope. I'm looking, man. You got to send me that link because I'm looking forward to that because I still bang the original version of it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, that's what's up.
And when I tell you, bruh, good friend of mine named Mario Brown is who put me. He's a gospel artist, so he put me like, dog, you gotta hear J Moss. I'm like, Moss, like Matty Moss Clark.
Yeah.
He like, that's that. I think that's his auntie or something.
Yeah.
He's like, yes. He's like, so I think I was like, absolutely. Cause I know who the Clark sisters are.
Yeah.
So if he in that family, I'm trying to hear what he talking about.
For sure.
And that's when I heard what you guys had. I didn't hear the younger version. I heard them when you guys got together and came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this brother is an alien. He's something different.
Alien,
man. Like, it's ridiculous. So I was like, he produced his own stuff. He's like, no, he worked with this dude named PDA because he always be like, PDA hit me like he ain't never hit me before. The different things he do.
And it's so crazy, man. I can still get people today like, I didn't know PDA was a person.
Yeah, word.
Like, you didn't know what? It was just thought it was something to say. You know what I mean? So it was like, wow.
Yeah. So when y'all hear PDA, that's who we talking about. This is who we talking about.
For sure.
It makes sense though in the production and the sonics that you guys created. So much so, even when you produce for people like Byron Cage or whoever, or Karen or whoever you guys work with, I could right away say, oh wait, this gotta be and then I go look for PaJam.
Yeah.
And that's when I could, just the sonics of it stands out.
Sure.
So I could tell it's created. You know how you can tell Timberland, you can tell when it's Pharrell. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So it's that type of thing, and that's, to me, shows when a producer stamps without having to put a tag.
Right.
You don't be like, PaJam's on the way, then the song come in. It's literally the sonic. Because nowadays, you got a lot of beat makers and not producers.
That's right.
So since they're just making beats, they have to put their tag on there.
That's right.
But the true producers really produce, you know their production.
Right.
Literally, even if it's a different genre, you can tell, like, this got a little hint of so on and so forth. So that's what's up, man.
Yeah, man.
So now,
Okay.
you're going through life, you're getting of age.
Yeah.
And you start working in the studio.
Okay.
In the basement, I heard. A studio in the basement.
Yeah, man. I grew up wanting to play football.
Right.
All right, I wanted to play football. My parents wanted me to be an attorney. I was like, okay. So people asked me as a kid, what you going to be when you grow up, Paul? I'm going to be an attorney, but I want to be a football player, right? 14, got hit in the game, knocked out for 32 seconds.
Gotcha.
Woke up. I ain't playing football.
It's over with.
Football is clearly not my calling. You know what I mean? And but I turned 15, and one of my best friends, who was older, had actually built one of the first studios in Detroit.
Yes.
In his basement.
Okay.
Right? And so I was just tagging along. He would pick me up from school. I was just tagging along. And so I started paying attention. So I started realizing that there was really musicians and songwriters and producers and artists that actually put in the work. They're not on the radio playing, but when you hear it, they're not playing actually while you're hearing it. You know what I mean? So I'm getting an understanding of how this all thing come apart, right?
Yes.
So come together. And so At 15, I realized, like, yo, this is something I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
At 14, I saw Jay Moss, which was James Moss or Jimmy Moss at the time with the Moss Brothers.
Yes.
Right? And I was like at a musical, and I was like, yo, you got enough?
You good?
You good? Yeah. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna play for that guy one day, right? So I was like 14, maybe even a little younger.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't know what I was saying. But
Right.
when I was 15, 16, I left home early, 16. And I remember coming to the studio one day, and Dave, the guy who the studio was like, yo, I got this kid, man. They used to be a part of this group called the Moss Brothers. I was like, get out of here. He's talking about Jimmy. He's like, yeah, but I don't know what to do with him. And I was like, okay. So Jay was working on his own stuff. Well, Jimmy, he was working on his own stuff and trying to create some stuff. You know, he was young too. And so that was like a crazy moment because we started being in the studio together and didn't know each other other than seeing each other in musicals or in church and stuff like that. But we was left alone. And while we was left alone, we started collaborating on stuff, right? 15, 16 years old. And we started working. So every time I would get out of school, I was standing at this, anyway, that's a different story. I was standing in a motel, but I would find a way to get back to the studio. My man would, sometimes pick me up, right? And we started locking in then maybe 6, 8 hours, 12 hours after school, right?
Wow.
In the studio, going home, washing up, or he'll go home and wash up. I would go straight to school, right? And then boom, we do it all over again. Now we would wash our tails and stuff like that. So
yeah, for sure, for sure.
You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, we were spending all kinds of crazy time
in the lab, yeah.
And so, but I was learning how to produce, songwrite, just being in that environment, right? And so who was coming through at that time was like demos for Fred Hammond, demos for Commission, demos for Marvin Winans, things like that. And so they would come to this basement studio before they would go and do their records. So I had hands-on training at 16 years old.
Right.
So by the time I was 18, boom, I had this internship with this guy named Michael Powell. Right?
Big Boy Studio.
Big
produced
Boy
for
Studio.
Anita Baker?
Anita Baker's producer,
Yeah.
Aretha Franklin producer,
Yeah.
Patti LaBelle. My first gold record was I was 18 years old, and I had worked with Mike on Patti LaBelle.
Wow.
And that was my first gold record. I was like, oh my God. So I gave it to my dad. Dad, I want my record back. But it was my first gold record, but it was like, oh, I can do this.
Absolutely.
Right?
That was your confirmation.
As my confirmation, right? And so Jay was doing, at 18, he was doing road work for the Clark sisters.
Okay.
So I'm talking about a roadie. I'm talking about not just singing backgrounds coming in like some of these backgrounds come in now.
Yeah.
I'm talking about he was getting their bags off the truck, off the bus. He was making sure he's going to baggage claim. They going on to the hotel. He waiting to get, I mean, it was like that. He was in the trenches like that.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm in the studio trying to learn like whatever I can. He's on the road learning whatever he could. And one day, this label that he was with, he and I kind of got into it, and I was like, well, he was like, yeah, man, I don't think we should work together no more. And I was like, that's cool. I say, well, since I'm out, I'm gonna take Jimmy with me, you know. And I took Jay Moss with me, you know. And so what I mean by that is, he was signed to this label. I was like, give me a release.
Yep.
Now I'm 19. Give me a release, right? And I'm taking this guy and I'm gonna do something with him. So I changed the name to Jay Moss.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, yo, this is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be awesome. This story is gonna, it's gonna be the most untold story. Took us 9 years.
Wow.
9 years. We started shopping to deal with this guy, for this guy, and it took us 9 years for somebody to say yeah. Now, was people saying yeah to stuff like sing R&B? You know,
of course, yeah.
Hey, can y'all do this? Can you do that? You know, and it was like, nah, man, I can't do R&B. If I'm gonna do an artist thing, I gotta be gospel. You know,
right?
And so I was just like, all right, bet. And so everybody
Who were some? Cause I know some heavy hitters probably trying to get in.
I was getting ready to get to that. So we was working on Boys to Men.
Okay.
And Babyface was like, yo, is this the kid that was singing the demos? It's like, yeah. It's like, this kid won't, nah, he not singing R&B. He ain't singing gospel though. You want to do an inspirational record.
Right.
He's like, I ain't interested in that. That don't make no money. Right. And so I was working for Bad Boy. I know. It's
Nah, man,
right
please. This was back in the day.
Bad Boy for 2 years.
Yeah.
And Diddy on several occasions will call and be like, yo, it's Puff. I'm like, yeah. Man, you got to let me have that kid. You got to let me have that kid, man. That dude is dope,
Right.
And I'm like, nah, make him a millionaire. I'll give him $1 million signing bonus. And I'm just like, you gonna do what? You know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, nah, he ain't gonna take it. He ain't gonna take, man, I'm talking about $1 million. He ain't gonna take it. So I get off the phone with him, wait a couple of days. Yeah. In the moment, Jay might have said, yeah. But, I waited a couple of days, like, yo, Puff called again. He was like, he want to give me $1 million signing bonus. He was just like, oh, my God, P. I'm glad you didn't call me because at that moment, I probably would have did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, so in that 9 years, though, man, so I'm going somewhere with that. In the 9 years, we realized early that it just wasn't time for him to have a deal yet. Right? And so what we started doing was producing for other people. So notice I said I was working with Puff. Notice I said I was working with Babyface, things of that nature. We were actually writing and producing for these other artists. So they wouldn't say yes to him as an artist to sign as a singer, but they were saying yes to the records. Right? And so whatever we were sending them was like, yo, what would that record sound like if it was R&B? Right. So this record we did on Kelly Price, You Should Have Told Me. Yep. It was actually a gospel record at first. Mm-hmm. Most people don't even know that. But it was a gospel record at first. But when we resubmitted it, she took it like that. Right. Mm-hmm. Same thing with a couple other records that we did. And so we were doing gospel, but we was also doing a lot of pop, a lot of R&B and things of that nature. But the course of Jay, so that's what makes this project, this 20-year anniversary of the J Moss project so significant in our career because it took us so long to even get to that point on that J Moss record. Yeah.
Wow, man. And when I hear You Should Have Told Me, just thinking about even the harmony arrangements y'all got, even the dun-na-na-na-na, dun-na, that's gospel, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the ooh, that's got all those elements that you have. I can hear.
How'd that go?
Man, we ain't going there. But that, you know what I'm talking about? Those elements, even how you guys did the bridge.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it sounded it, and the cadence y'all had her singing sound. Clark's sister-ish.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense. Now that's a great story. That's a good one because I would have never known it was a gospel song, but I knew whoever at the when I was looking at the credits, I'm like, these cats got something to do with gospel because the musicianship is too well done in this record.
Thank you, man.
And then you got her singing the house down.
Yeah, she was.
So
she did.
That's amazing, man. Yeah. So in the process, I don't want y'all to miss what he said. Instead of worrying about getting to the destination, they were preparing on the way to the destination. So when they actually landed, they were ready. Yeah. A lot of times we look at things and we want them to happen right now. But if you get them right now when you want them, you don't have the knowledge or skill to retain them. So then you just blew your blessing for no reason because you're impatient. But what they did was they continued to build their crafts. So by the time they were in the position they wanted to be in for the 20-year anniversary, they were already seasoned. Yeah. So I'm sure y'all probably ran through that project with no problem because of the experience of different artists that you guys worked with up until that point.
Yeah, man. I mean, when we turned the project in, we were proud of this work. So I got on the plane, flew to L.A., walked into Vicky Mac's office and was like, I got the record. Here it is. So we sat and listened to the whole record in her office. And she was like, oh, my God, this is so good. This is so good. And I was looking at her like, this is so good? Like, what does that mean?
Right.
She was like, it's so good, but something's missing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I want to be. Is a smash,
Right.
PS 150 is a smash. Living For is a smash. What? Me Again is a smash. This Don't Pray and Worry is something different. It's a smash. What are you talking? She was like, something's missing. I said, well, what's missing? She said, that's not my job. My job is to tell you what's missing.
Y'all got to go figure it out.
You go figure it out.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to stay in L.A. I got back on the plane, changed my flight. When I landed, before I took off, I said, what up, man? He said, what's up? I said, I'm on my way back. He said, she didn't like the record? And I was like, yeah, she loves the record, but she feels like something's missing. And I was like, he was like, oh, my God, P, are you kidding me? And he did what I did, just name off the records. Like, did she hear the whole record? Did she hear this? Did she hear that? And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, yo, I got to go. When I landed, he said, yo, when you get home, I already left the CD on we was using CDs. Yeah. We already left the CD on your ledge. We had this system where we stayed maybe 15 minutes from each other at the most. But we have this system where the ledge will, make something, listen to it in the car, and then take that CD and put it on the other person's porch.
Gotcha.
Right? See, when you get home, I got an idea. I said, okay, bet. So I got home, he put this idea of this melody, and I was like, if I was a what?
Oh, that sounds so cold.
If I did what? If I what? We must, this is a mantra. This is an anthem.
Yes.
Boom, went straight in the house. I didn't go to the studio, went to the crib, got a studio in the crib, and just started filling it out. Send it back to him, went back over and said, yo, you come outside to the car, And then he came outside to the car, boom, back. I'm gonna go back in, And so we would just, for that whole night, right? We just, boom, back and forth. 2 days later, I jumped back on the plane. I said, tell everybody to come in this office. The receptionist, the dude, when you got over there sleeping, come in the office.
Yeah.
Like everybody, like the radio people, everybody, come in this office right now. So she in her office, like I took over her office.
Word.
Like, listen to this record right here. And so what I did though, before I played that record, I played the songs like in the order of the album that we know it.
Right.
But where If We Must Praise is in the album, I played it in that sequence in the room.
Got you.
She stopped. She stopped that record, started over. Bling, bling, bling. Stopped it and started over. Bing, bing, bing. Stopped it. She started that song over 5 times before she even said a word.
Wow.
And I was like, no, you ain't even got to the good part. Wait till he opened his mouth,
Yeah.
Bro, she was just like, we got a record. It was crazy. Wow. And so next thing I know, they was like, we're going to put out this double single, I Wanna Be, which I thought was a smash anyway.
Yeah.
And We Must Praise, and that boy was 28 weeks, #1.
Bro.
Never happened like that before. It was crazy.
Bro, the lyrical
Yeah.
content is in there.
Yeah.
The man said, if I was a doctor,
Yeah.
I would do my research.
Yeah.
If I was a speaker,
Yeah.
like if you gotta listen to this man lyrics in this song.
Yeah.
But mind you, not just
Yeah.
the lyrics, how he sang the lyrics.
Yeah.
You believe every single word. So if you are a producer or a songwriter and you do demos, right?
Yeah.
You might do 300 songs.
Yeah.
But it might be 2 or 3 of them. You be like, nah, this one right here.
Yeah. That's right.
Man, he wrote. Y'all did that, bro.
Yeah.
That record is. I play that still today.
Yeah.
Like it's an amazing piece, bro.
Yeah. But even in that story, it's still another story. A lesson out of it is like, when if you're working in a Christian realm or spiritual realm,
Yes.
it can't be about copycat.
Facts.
You know what I mean? It can't be about, because God's got so much more to say, right? He's got so much more to say. So if you're trying to say the same thing somebody else said, you're trying to put limits on God because he has something for you to say.
Right.
And though we felt like the record was dope, he still had one more thing to say with that record.
Absolutely.
And we had that person to tell us and challenge us and say, yo, go back and finish this record. And it was only one record. It wasn't like 3 or 4 songs. It was just one record.
Right.
And that mug is, the rest is
It
history.
is what it is,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, man.
That was the changing thing for
Yeah.
his career at that moment.
Yeah, man, absolutely. As an artist, it made him feel like I said no to all these other opportunities, and this is why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it came full
Circle.
on for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like, man, did I make the right choice? Did I make the right choice for my family?
Yeah.
I could be doing this with that money. I could be doing that with this money. I could be out on world tours on another level. Because we talking about R&B versus gospel, right?
Absolutely.
It's a different level, especially back then. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And so for that moment to come for him as an artist, finally, you know what I mean? It was like, yo, all right, I'm good now. I'm set. Yeah, for sure.
That's beautiful, man. So once you guys started he was an artist.
Right.
Did you guys continue to write for other artists as well, or you just cut that? Okay, so you continued afterwards.
Right.
So
Yeah.
prior to him coming out as an artist,
Yeah.
who were some of the artists? Like you said, Kelly Price.
So our first record that came out that really gave us the notoriety was that Clark-Sheard, Finally Karen record.
Yes,
right?
sir.
But we had already did Been a Standard, right? And so a lot of these songs were demos that we were shopping for Jay. And we was like, what are we going to do with these songs? But
Right.
people started saying yes. So in the standard record, we did 7 songs. You know, Hezekiah Walker, we did a song called Let's Dance, but we ended up doing 4 more songs.
Right.
You know, Clark-Sheard, we ended up doing a few records, and then we ended up doing half the record, you know.
Right.
And so we were, you know, able to shop these records and get them on records, but we were actually getting, you know, artists, you know. And so we were talking about 25/7, we talking about, I mean, everybody.
Yeah.
You know, everybody in gospel that was somebody, you know, we were doing, you know. And then some of the R&B people started hearing about it, and so, you know, then Drew Hill stepped up, right? And so we were working on Cisco, and he was coming off the Thong song. Here's another story real quick. So we had this song called Without You that we sent to Usher. And so people always ask, do you have any regrets? And I'm like, I don't have any regrets. Some things I probably would have did over. You know, no disrespect to some of the artists, but some people just did better than other people in
Absolutely.
certain times, you know. And so, you know, Cisco was the likable choice because he was coming off the Thong song.
Which was a huge record.
Huge record,
Yes.
right? I mean, it was in the movies. It was everywhere.
Everywhere.
And so, but we sent the record to Usher, and it took Usher too long to respond. So it took him 2 weeks to respond, but it took Cisco's people a day. And then they were like, we're going to play this for Cisco and see if he wants it. 3 days later, we was in L.A. to record the song. When we finished recording the song, he wanted to put the boys on it, so they flew the rest of Drew Hill out to make it a Drew Hill record, right? So by the time we was finishing with L.A., finally, L.A. Reid called back about the record for Usher.
Right.
And he was like, yo, the song is gone. And they wasn't even open to hearing nothing else because they felt like, why would you take that record? That was, you know, that's the record.
That's the one.
Yeah, and so we went double platinum on the Cisco record, right?
Right.
But that was the Confessions record
And that
that we
sold
missed.
20-something million.
And that sold
Yeah.
20 million records worldwide. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a regret, right?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things you're like, oh my God, could I take it back? You know, oh my God, could I do something else? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we're talking about Drew Hill, we're talking about Boyz II Men, we're talking about Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Justin Timberlake, Beyonce, and Destiny's Child. You know, so it just kept going and kept going and kept going. And the next thing I know, we did, most people don't know, we did 8 seasons of Grey's Anatomy music.
Oh, yep,
Right?
yep.
Yeah, and we did this show back in the day called Soul Food. We did music for a while.
Yep.
We were doing movies after movies after movies, and we still do movies, you know. And now that we've gotten a lot of experience doing music for movies and scoring, we're using that opportunity for some of our upcoming writers to be able to get placements and get things going and things of that nature, and syncs and things of that nature, while we're actually producing and writing films now. So
that's perfect, man. See,
Yep.
and what that, I understand it because we wrote a record for an artist named Leona Lewis. She's like from London.
Okay.
And we had written a record.
I know,
So we wrote a record for Leona, and we go into Jive, the Sony building, and we played a record for Wayne Williams.
Okay.
And we're like, man, this record for Leona Lewis.
Yeah.
But it happened the other way for us. He was like, okay, that's what's up, man. So whatever he's listening to, he's like, hold on, man. Y'all go get something to eat. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
We go get something to eat, come back. Ladies on the phone, the A&R for the Backstreet Boys. There's like, we working on this, I forgot the Barbara, the White, I can't think of her name.
Okay.
But she was the hit main for him, Britney Spears, all those.
Yeah.
And she was like, you think if you lowered the key, this record could be done for a male?
Yeah.
We thinking a male. All right, we like, at this point, we just want the record played. We don't care who you want to put it on.
Yeah.
Well, I want you guys to come to L.A. This was a Tuesday. I want you to come to L.A. on Thursday. Y'all got something on your schedule? I'm like, hold on, let me check with my assistant. No, we free. What's going on? Yeah, we free.
Yeah,
we free.
for sure.
Long story short, that record, instead of being for Leon Lewis, ended up being on the Backstreet Boys album. But it worked, which actually was a better thing because they sold more records than her. But the thing is the same concept because they were sleeping, and we got it directly to the source.
Yeah, man.
They were sleeping on a record.
Yeah.
It goes to somebody else.
That's right.
So there's nothing to be regretful of.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you know that, but I'm telling it for the people out there who's trying to get in the game because you just never know what it might have done if Usher got it. They might have said we want it, and then they get right to the time when they do the album, and it didn't even get on the album.
Yeah, right.
So then you could have had something. You could have got a check, everything. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So I understand it totally, but
man.
for those who've never been in that situation, you know, I get it.
For sure.
So I want to talk about a specific record you guys did because it was so left field and so out of the blue. Matter of fact, I played it for somebody and said, you know who wrote and produced this, right? And they was like, ain't no way. I was like, dog, look at the credits.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it back then because I was a avid credit reader.
Okay.
And it was doing well, do your thing in sync.
Dude, and that song was a mistake.
Man, so talk to me about that record, bro.
So first off, we was at the Grammys this particular time, and our manager at the time that was managing our R&B pop scene, he was like, we got to get on this record, this NSYNC record. So he talked to the manager, Johnny Wright, and he was like, oh, man, the record's closed. And so we go to the show, pre-show, we go to the regular show, go to the after party, and he was like, yo, I'm working on it. And I was like, the record's closed. The record's coming out. It's done. You know, he's like, I'm working on it. So he went to the after party, not Diddy's, but he went to the after party. And back then he might have. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, he was moving mountains and he was not saved. So I ain't going. You know, yeah. So he wasn't right. But about 4:30 in the morning, he knocking on my hotel door. Boom, 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 boom. P. He's yelling in the hallway. P. I open the door like, what, bruh? And he's like, make a CD right now. Make a CD right now. I said, make a CD of what? What you want? Man, remember this record? He named like 3 records, and I was like, okay. So I made a record. I made a CD of like 4 records that I thought would work for Justin and them, right?
Yep.
And so he was like, I was like, I don't know what you're doing, whatever. I just, boom, I had my computer. So I made him a CD. He went downstairs. He came back up, knocked on the door again. P. I was like, what? He said, what that new record y'all just did? I was like, I ain't get a chance to fix it. Right. And he was like, no, put that record on there. Remake the CD. I don't have no more blank CDs.
Right.
I don't know where he got this blank CD from. I don't know. He was high. I don't know. But he produced a blank CD and came back up again, 3rd time. Waited for me to make the CD. I put it on as a 5th record. This record, the Do Your Thing record you're talking about, what happened was when I pulled it up to actually bounce down this demo, all my program, all my sequence of the drums came up as a kick drum. So the snare, the hi-hat, the toms, the kick, everything, the bass even was, and I was like, that's not the beat, right. You know, and we was leaving, so I was just like, let me just go on and just bounce it. Yeah. And so he heard it in the car when we first got to L.A. That was the only time he heard it. He's like, put that record on there, bro. And so it was, I was like, all right. He got it to the airport, never went to sleep. He went straight to the airport, met Johnny Wright at the airport with this CD. Gave him the CD. By the time he landed, he called right back and was like, when can y'all record this record? Wow. And was like, what record? Right. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I gave you 5. I gave you 5 records. Yeah, what record? Right. Turned out to be the record that I didn't fix yet. So now we're in a dilemma like, do we fix the record? Or do we leave the record as it is? Right. So I went on to fix the record. Sent it back to him like, yo, is this the record? He's like, no, that's not the record. That's not what I heard. Right. And so he was like, you got to figure out how to go back and get that. I couldn't go back and trick the computer again to freak out the MIDI to make it do it again, right? So what you hear on the record was what I had bounced. So it ain't even a mixed thing. It ain't even a mixed drum loop, bro. I mean, like the drums I would normally go crazy. Go crazy. Yeah. It ain't even that, man. Most people don't. It's just a 2-track. Know that. That's a 2-track part. The other stuff I was able to put on top. Yeah. But anyway, that's the story to the song and that record, man. I mean, they took off one of their records. It was the 13th record on the song on the album. Yeah. And it sold over 10 million records worldwide, man. It was just. So you still got that diamond anyway. It was crazy. We still got the diamond anyway from a different artist. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, and that song was doing some crazy things, man, because they only did a couple singles off the record. I think Gone was off that record. Yeah. And Girlfriend, Boyfriend, or something like that. And everybody was hot at that time. I mean, that was for real, Neptunes and stuff. Yeah. Everybody was hot at that time, man. But they would open a tour with that record, and things of that nature, man. So it would blow my mind to be at the tour or be at the concert, and they coming out the floor and the songs, and I'm just like, that ain't even, and to think about how that song came about, how and then these people screaming the song, man, singing it loud, and I mean, people everywhere just going crazy over the song. It was amazing.
That's an amazing feeling.
amazing.
But and the crazy part is, it was a mistake.
It was a mistake.
But it was not a mistake, though.
But
That's
it
the
wasn't a
crazy
mistake. It was a wonderful, beautiful mistake.
A beautiful mistake. A $1 million mistake.
For sure, man.
That's dope, man. I love to hear that because a lot of times we think we had the answers.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's literally our mistakes that's blessed because we doing what we supposed to do in the right vein, in the right energy. For sure. And that mistake turns into a blessing.
Right.
Man, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, man.
That's a beautiful thing, man. And that, to me, that song, so I couldn't believe it wasn't a single.
I couldn't believe
it was so cool. I like, man.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, how did he think to even, now that you explained the beat, because I'm like, who thinks of that kind of drum pattern? In my mind, I'm like, that no, but it makes sense because it sounds like somebody playing it with playing it like a piano. Yeah. But so it makes sense now that you said that. Yeah. And I was like, man, this dude's something different because ain't no way a producer would think of that. Timberlake wouldn't think of that. Right. But now that you say it was a MIDI error.
It was a MIDI error, bro.
It makes
everything
perfect
was a
sense.
kick. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
It was crazy, man. And in our career, man, we've been blessed to be able to, pretty much have ownership of like 100% of our publishing and writings and stuff. And so every artist, we expected somebody to say they wanted something.
Right.
And it wasn't until we was working on Shirley Caesar.
The gospel artist.
The gospel artist. First of all, the queen mother of gospel.
Yeah, facts.
To do it was more like to do her record, Mighty Clouds of Joy records. Yeah.
Those legacy
Canton
artists.
Spirituals. It was just like, not Canton Spirituals, what's the other? Christian Air.
Christian Air, yeah.
It was just like, my mama was like this, my grandmama was like this.
Yeah.
And, we just, we would say yes, but she came out the booth and was like, now y'all know I need to be a writer on this song. And I was like, okay, Mama Shirley, what you mean? She was like, yeah, I'm thinking a good 50% will be good.
What?
I said, Mama Shirley.
Come on now.
We don't know what you've been doing all your whole life, robbing people. But if we give you a point on this record, is be grateful.
Right.
But again, we in the midst of other things, so we just like, Shirley, this is, But it was her, and then and full circle, because I mentioned Patti LaBelle before. Yeah. We ended up producing as PaJam on Patti LaBelle's, one of her records, and her gospel record and her R&B record, as we were PaJam, right? Yeah. And so, but her being my first go record, I was just like, you do remember, I used to be, she was like, oh yeah, man, you was in the studio. I was like, you remember that, yeah, you was chubby back then, you was this, I was like, oh my God. But it was crazy that she had that kind of memory, but she was the only other one that was like, I just want my name. She didn't want the percentage. She was just like, I just want my name on it. She was the only other person, that we ever came in, and that was a crazy story. I'll tell you about this, and sorry, Miss Patty. We get to the studio. It was at her house in Philly, and she came out dialed up. She had on this little baby doll dress and her hair, and she had on these heels, and her legs was, shining. And so she came in, and she was like, okay, well, when she came in, we loading up the song. We get up to greet her and everything, and she's like, okay, let's get our pictures and stuff out the way right now. Let's get the pictures out. Let's get the pictures out the way right now. Right. So we like, all right, bet, let's get the pictures. So we get the pictures and stuff. As soon as we finish, she said, we got it? She looking at her son, Zori. You got it? You got it? She said, yeah. She took the wig off. Boom. She took her earrings off. Boom. She took the dress. Boom. Took the heels off. And we're sitting right there, like you to me. Yeah. This her getting undressed, like, okay, I'm ready to go to work now. Wow. And we're like, is Patti LaBelle right here without her dress on right now? But I'm just telling you. And so people, I know there's a crazy story to tell, but when she got behind the mic,
went crazy.
It was like, well, you got to do what you got to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so,
That's crazy, bro.
I got some crazy stories, man.
Listen, man, hey, we here for all of them, by the way. Yeah. But what I like about it is that she knew the process. Yeah. She knew most people want to, because normally when we do stuff, we take pictures at the end or the last couple of days, you know what I'm saying? Or if it's one day after the session. Yeah. The fact that she knew that was coming, she went on here and got fresh, but she knew she got to get down to the nitty gritty to get this record out right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
That's dope, bro.
And
hey, listen, I don't want
he's sitting over there in the audience like shocked, like, wait. So you telling me she sang naked? She was not naked. All right, she wasn't naked, but she took that dress off and she took that wig off, but she wasn't naked. All right, one minute. All right.
So what I want artists and writers and producers to understand is this: what he's saying is monumental. When you work with artists, they do ask for publishing and can't write a lick.
Right.
That happens all the time. Put it like this: if it don't happen, you should be shocked. Not if it does. It should be the other way. I can think of records. I don't think I'm gonna say them because then I'd be calling out the artists. But there was records I did on huge artists.
Yeah.
That wanted publishing.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
Okay.
You can think of who's big, and y'all waiting on her album, but she ain't never gonna get it because she rich now.
Yeah.
Asked for publishing on a record and was nowhere near the studio where we came up with the song.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But guess what? We gave her some publishing because
you
we wanted to be on the album.
Yeah, I mean, you got to, it is what it is. I mean, you got to play the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that it means more to be on the record.
Exactly.
You know, sometimes it's not about the money. It's about
the credit.
It's about the credit, and that credit will afford you other things.
A lot more things. So,
Absolutely.
Don't take it personal.
Yeah.
Because it happens to all of us.
That's right.
He's won Grammys. I've been nominated for them, and they came at us.
Yeah.
And they still come.
Yeah.
They don't change.
Yeah.
So don't take it personal.
Sure.
It's not personal. It's only business. So for you to even when someone asks for publishing, that's their ask. You can negotiate.
Yeah.
Because he said, what's gonna ask for 50? Ain't no way.
There's no way.
But I give a dime up real quick.
Yeah.
Because that means I give up some in the producer. Or if I'm the producer, I give up 5, the producer give up 5. We still got 45 apiece.
Right.
So find a way to make it on that project.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? But always negotiate because you don't get what you earn. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate only. So make sure you take notes from what he just said because he just dropped the gem, and I hope you're picking it up.
Yeah.
So moving forward, man.
Yeah.
On the business side of things,
Okay.
you and Jay own 100%. Y'all 100%ers together. Y'all crew, y'all production team is 100%ers.
Right.
So, in your journey, in your guys' career, have you guys ever been approached about doing catalog deals or things of that nature since you guys own? Or let me say it like this: did you guys have a publishing deal and then? Because when you have a published deal, you have to split. You have to do a co-pub, meaning you giving some publishing to the publisher that's believing in you as a writer or a producer.
Correct.
So did you guys have a publishing
So
deal?
yeah, we did do my first publishing deal. We did with Universal Music.
Okay.
And it was a big deal because back then they were. You have to understand back then when you submit records, it was an artist or an A&R or manager is listening to a Timberlake record. They listen to a Pharrell record, which was the Neptunes. They listen to a Warren Campbell record. They listen to a Face record and a PaJam record and a Dark Child record and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And so, first off, and then Kanye was coming up.
Yep.
And so you got all these different hitters.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Submitting
Super producers,
records,
yes.
super producers hitting records. So number one, you had to stay at a certain level to keep your edge, right?
Absolutely.
And so I want to say that because a lot of producers, like going back today, they just copycat and they grabbing loops. They do, they don't try to make the loop they own and things of that nature, And so sound is a big deal.
Right.
And so there were a lot of publishing companies at the time, Sony Music and Columbia and WEA and things of that nature, Warner Chappell, were all looking to sign powerhouse producers.
Right.
And so we were on our way up, and Universal approached us. And the first time we was like, nah, it wasn't high enough.
Yeah, it wasn't a good number.
And what that really meant was we must haven't done enough records for them to come at us a certain way.
Absolutely.
Right? And so we did some more records. Sometimes people just take the first thing to come at them like, yo, this is dope, this is the first opportunity. But sometimes you got to know your worth and your value. And sometimes you got to know your place.
Absolutely.
Right? Our place was on the come up. It wasn't like we was up, right? So just because you had a hot TikTok beat, that don't mean the next 5 beats you drop is going to go gonna blow up on TikTok, right?
Right.
So you got to know your place, right? And so we wanted to stack up a little bit more from a hit standpoint, from an artist placement standpoint, and then they came at us right. And so yeah, we ended up doing a universal publishing deal.
And that's important, man. Knowing how to create leverage in any business, not just the music business.
That's right.
When you're doing deals, whether it's buying homes, buying property, whether it's doing publishing deals, signing a record deal as an artist, the best place to be is for them to approach you, which that means you have the leverage. If you're approaching them, they have the leverage, and they're going to win that battle.
That's right.
But if they approach you, it's really your battle to lose at that point. Right. Meaning you have a terrible team, and your team or your attorney, your management don't know how to negotiate. Yeah. Because always remember, you don't get what you earn or deserve, you get what you negotiate. Yeah. So in doing you guys' publishing deal, because you guys were doing so many records, did you go to different options fast, like pretty quickly? So so when you in your publishing deal, you know, publishing deal has most publishing deals have options. Yes. Like first option, second option. Were you getting through your options pretty quickly because you were doing 6 or 7 records on artists?
Yeah, and that was the thing that they were trying to stop us from doing because you know we were blessed to be able to put 5 or 6 records on an artist, right? Yeah. And so they were like, you guys kind of cheating.
Yeah, for sure.
But the deal was what it was.
That's what the paperwork said.
That's what the paperwork said.
So cut the check.
So so we were able to just keep
renegotiating and getting more. Smart.
Yeah.
And in case we're going over y'all heads in publishing deals, we got to teach. We can't just talk.
That's right.
There are options in your publishing deal. When you do the first signing, whatever your deal is, it may be a 3-song deal. 3 songs are not 3 songs.
Yeah.
3 songs are 300%. So if he's the producer and I'm the writer, he has 50, I have 50.
Right.
So in order for me to get up my deal, I need to go to 300. So 50% divided by 300, that's 6 songs placed for me, and then he has it. Now, if we do a joint deal, 3 songs is 3 songs because our 50 is shared because we're a team. You understand what I'm saying?
Correct. So
you got to understand the business of music because to me, it's smarter for us to do it together because what we can do is we can run through the money faster. Because we owe less songs, and for example, when he said they did 7 records on somebody's project, if we did a 4-song deal, we're out because we did 7 songs. If we're a team, now we'd have been short 1 record if we were separated. Correct. So we can't go to our next option to get the next set of money that's owed to us. Right. You get what I'm saying? Right. So I just wanted to break that down how this thing works. So when you see jargon like songs and this and that, and then some things don't count. He spoke about when they were doing movie, TV, and film. If you do not negotiate that in your publishing deal, they won't even count those songs. Yeah. So you have to negotiate everything in your contract. Right. You have to be forward thinking. Otherwise, you won't reap the benefits of it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we want to teach, not just talk. Just so y'all understand. I want to break that down so everybody out there listening and watching understands what we're talking about. Yeah. So now, obviously, you guys got all your deals or whatever. Have you guys ever been approached by doing a catalog deals and things of that nature, like everybody else has been? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we get approached by that. We just don't feel like it's time yet. Yeah.
I understand.
And so, I mean, and the numbers are not, shabby or nothing like that.
Oh, absolutely not.
But
for sure.
But again, once you get out of a publishing deal, you're starting to see
all
of it back. It's kind of hard to just be like handing it over.
Absolutely, yeah. You get that big wave.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use random numbers. I'm gonna talk about him. You getting checks for $100,000 because you're in a publishing deal. Right. But then that 100,000, 10 years later is now 400,000.
Right. That's right.
You like why?
Yeah.
When I'm used to getting 100, 150, and I'm getting 400 10 years later after we did something. Yeah. So it makes what he's saying makes sense. So that's why I'm not being nosy. I'm asking because what I want to do is continue from his life experiences to hopefully help you in your life experience or your professional life experience. Because this brother has a lot of years in this game, and he knows it up, down, left, right. So I want to make sure I'm pulling knowledge. You guys took your time to be here to join us, so I want to make sure I get everything out.
For sure.
So now moving forward, let's talk about the licensing things, the sync things you guys did, because one of my clients now, all he does is that. And those numbers, we did the Olympics, the 2024 Olympics.
Oh, great.
Crazy numbers.
That's great.
We just did last night. That's why Josh had to pick you up. I had to go to the Bucks arena because we just did a licensing deal with the Bucks, and he had to perform the song. So, like, I know that world really well. And when I tell you, you can license the same song. We licensed one song, a song called Glory, 17 times.
That's a lot.
One song 17 times.
That's amazing.
And if I told you the numbers behind it, I can't, obviously. Just know I'll say it was on the Olympics. I'll just give you like a little taste. So imagine your song when they doing the Olympics is that song. That's yours. And you own the publishing on that. You can do the math. And then think of 16 other things that use that song. So that's a whole nother world. And you get that money right now. You don't have to wait for that money. That money come like within the, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you producing on albums, if you're a producer, you'll get it up front. But then you got to wait for the sales and all the mechanicals and all that. That's coming 7, 8, maybe a year later. But these type of deals come right now, within 30 days type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about that side, man, because that's a side that producers of your caliber venture off into, but later on in their careers, as opposed to while you hot as fish grease. Which to me is the smartest play, because you have your name and the equity of your name, so your rates, people can send over offers, but you can make them. They gotta come up. They gotta come up.
Always change the offer, no matter what. No matter what, change the offer.
So talk to me about what made you guys want to go into the syncing and the licensing area.
I mean, because it's easy. The work's already done, and, first of all, it's an awesome opportunity for people to even think highly of you, of music like that, to even contact you about it,
Facts.
And so 17 times, bro, that's incredible. So congratulations on that.
Thank you, bro.
And I'm sure it's going to keep going. But I mean, it's just easy, man. If you negotiate it right, if you first of all, if you put the time in when you grinding, right, it'll pay off later, and it'll keep paying off. You know what I mean? And so, for those of you that are producers and writers and artists and things of that nature, don't give up. Just try to do as much as you can. If it ain't popping in hip hop, learn pop. If it ain't popping in pop, learn country. Like, do it all. If you're a beat maker, you can make beats for everybody, all types of genres. You don't know what's gonna be your thing to pop off. Same thing with a songwriter. Don't limit your pen to writing R&B hooks. You know what I mean? Make sure you writing pop hooks. Make sure you writing country hooks. A lot of people talk about writer's block, but there's no such thing as writer block if you think about. Well, I thought I was going to write an R&B record today. I must have my writer's block. No. Instead of writing that R&B record, write a country record. Write a kid's record. Write a jingle. Write a commercial. Just don't waste your time by convincing yourself that you blocked. Use that opportunity to expand your creativity, because later on that might be the thing to blow up. Might be the thing that bounce off for you. So you end up later on in life, and you go, oh my God, I'm using stuff that I didn't think I was going to use. Songs that's getting synced that I didn't think was going to get synced, and it's because what? You convince yourself not to have writer's block.
That's a fact, and always remember this: a song that's old to you is new to somebody else.
That's right.
We syncing and getting licensed on records that we did 10 years ago, 5 years ago. They're older records, but the sound fit the time of the film or the TV show or whatever. So you got to understand, catalog is catalog, and it can go. And the crazy part is, you so concentrated on the whole song, they probably just use the instrumental, but you still get paid for the whole song. It be 30, 28 seconds. You get paid for the whole thing. So make sure you don't sleep on your catalog, which is the point he's making of diversifying your portfolio, meaning making sure you're doing all genres, as many genres as possible. Because who would have thought a Shabuzi, a black dude rapping, everybody in the club get tipsy, as a country song would go crazy?
I love that song too.
Yeah, me too.
I
mean, just think about that type of stuff like that. That song, I remember when that song, the original one, that Jaquan and them did, came out. You know what I'm saying? We was in the club popping bottles of that. Back in the day, and this one I had waves and everything. I had hair. It's over for me now, but you get what I'm saying. He making money right now. I got gray hair, gray hair in my beard. Didn't have a beard, ain't got no hair, and he still getting paid off that same song from 15 years ago. So everything he's saying to you guys is extremely important for y'all to soak it in because those checks hit different.
It's true.
They hit different.
It's true.
So, and I'll give you an example. We were working on Sex and the City soundtrack. And, you know, he knows within licensing deals, they give a certain amount of time. So they'll license it for 6 months. So let's say they license it for 6 months for $200,000. So from January 1st to June 1st, or to June 30th or 30th, whatever the last day in June is, they have the license for that song. If that song runs on July 1st, guess what? They owe you a whole nother $200,000 because they breached.
Exactly.
That happened to us when we did the Sex and the City soundtrack. It was a mistake on their end, but it don't matter. You got to pay.
See?
So you got to make sure you understand your business.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So think about expecting nothing, and they be, oh, by the way, we're sending a check because we messed up.
Yeah.
Well, can you mess up one more time for a brother, please?
Yeah.
So make sure you understand your business.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
PDA, man, so in your production process, it sounds like, I don't know because I've never had the opportunity to be in the studio with you. Okay. It sounds like you make some of your sounds. Am I tripping?
So yeah, that's what we do, man.
Sound creation.
Sounds. Yep, sound creation was big coming up. I mean, there's a video of Kanye was working on a record, and he couldn't figure out the kick sound.
Yeah.
So he brought in this guy to find the right kick sound for this record. His name is Timberlake. I'm sure everybody knows Timberlake.
Yeah.
You know, and that video is so like powerful because that's what made people's careers.
Yes.
Is sound.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so Timberlake came in and was like, yeah, you using the wrong thing. It's not how loud it is. It's not how boomy and bassy it is. It's the way it cuts through. And he's teaching Kanye in the studio. You can go on YouTube right now. It's incredible. And that's how we came up. In fact, when I was working for Mike Powell, I thought I was going to go in and be a musician. Walked into the studio and he was like, I got the best musicians in the world, so you're not going to be playing anything, so go sit in the corner. Right. And so when sitting in the corner, I had to figure out what the heck am I going to do.
Right.
And so what I started doing is creating sounds, kick drums, snare drums, roll patches, pads, all kinds of stuff. And so I just took that same work ethic and put it in PaJam. And that's why, you know, people would say, what made you use that or this or that? And it's just because we wanted to be different.
Right.
You know, it's not, let me pull up an 808 and play the same 808 that everybody else played. It's like, let me do something to the 808. Let me put a flanger on the 808.
Yes.
Let me put a phaser on the 808. Let me tune the 808, you know, into the actual tune of the key of the song. You know, a lot of people don't do that. You know, they just pull it up and they just use it, you know. But they don't, you know, but it's little things like that will change the sound. Same thing with vocals, you know. You know, our approach with gospel was always, one, make you move, make you dance, make sure it's punchy, and then make sure the vocals felt like an R&B record.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so if it's a ballad, it's supposed to feel like a ballad.
Right.
So people will go like, why y'all churchy stuff be sounding sexy? You know, It's like, yeah, well, we just did a sexy record, and when I played this record to that record, it shouldn't be no difference.
Right.
And so, and that's just our approach to sound. And so, yeah, you're right. We making sounds is, we would put like the drummer in the booth, and then we would put some cans in the corner and then mic the cans. And so the reverb wouldn't just be a patch or a plug-in on the computer that everybody could use. We would also be able to use this reverb. We actually recorded while he was playing the drums.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just you know, trick ways. You know, there's trash cans over there right now. I'm looking at them. You know, that's 5 different kicks, snares, and toms right now. You know, you just put a mic on it and then just do your thing. You know,
tweak it, yeah.
You tweak it as a producer, as a beat maker, right? You know, it ain't just copying sounds. You can take it to the next level, you know, because there's other levels once you get out here. It's not just getting a popular beat for a moment, right?
Right.
You know, but there are some beat makers that have capitalized on Metro Boomin, for instance.
Yes.
You know, he's a killer. You know,
Yeah.
Jay Dilla was a killer. You know, but
Yeah.
Jay Dilla would make sounds.
He would definitely make
You know what I'm saying? And so, that's why we still respect his music and his vibe, and that's why there's sound packs that says Jay Dilla, because he did stuff that other people wasn't doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's the way we came up, and that's who we are, making
Absolutely.
sounds. Even vocally, you know, Jay would just, we got a song called Love, right? And in the bridge, we had music in the bridge, but we took it all out because he mimicked all these sounds, cymbal sounds, triangle sounds, and stuff with his voice, right? And so it's like, well, we don't need the music. We just go all vocals, you know what I mean? And so it's just stretching your creativity to the farthest you can, you know? Because that thing is going to make you, give you your legacy. Fact. That's what's going to make you have that longevity in this industry, you know? Not just, you know, there's some people that have one-hit wonders, but that's it, because that's all they got.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you just really dig in deep, you know what I mean?
That makes sense, and what he's saying is absolutely true. Yeah. Did a record for Brandy called Acapella Something Is Missing. Ooh. Y'all hear a guitar in there,
wait,
right?
That's you?
Yeah. Y'all hear a guitar in there, right?
Wait, that's your record?
Yeah. So y'all hear y'all hear a guitar in there?
Yo,
that's a vocal.
Yo, hold up.
Oh, thanks, bro.
Was crazy.
Thank you so much, bro.
Oh my God, that joke was crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
So Mark, when we first got done,
crazy, bro.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All
right.
When we first got done with that record, I played it for Marcus McFarlane, who's sitting out there. And when I tell you he lost, it wasn't even out yet. When I tell you he lost his mind, he was like, man, who is playing the guitar? I said, that's TC singing. I turned his guitar. I had him hum.
Yep.
And it's a plugin called Sans Amp.
Yeah.
And I put Sans Amp, and I put distortion as if his vocal was an electric guitar. So when you hear it on her record, that's a vocal. Everything on that song, there's no beat, no real production. It's all a vocal. So I know exactly what you're talking about, because I got into sound creation, but because I'm a vocal producer first and a producer second, I specialize in vocals.
Yeah.
So I literally took the same approach you and Jay took and created a guitar of him just doing runs. So it sounded like a real guitar.
That's crazy.
So listen to what he's saying, because to this day, just like most people don't know I was a part of the song, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't talk about it, but when people who do know see me, that's in the industry. When LaShawn found out, he said the same. I was mixing, I think, a Tamar Braxton album with him or something. And he was like, "This you? This you?" Because me, TC, and Sounds, and Lachey did the record. He's like, "This." I like, yeah. He's like, "But can I shake it?" I said, "No." Can I shake your hand? I only do this because of you. I copied you, boss.
Yeah.
Everything I did, Brandy, that Full Moon, that was the blueprint of me being a vocal producer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but sound creation, was something big, and I do it a lot with my vocals that I do. So that makes a lot of sense.
That's amazing.
So make sure y'all
tell that
hear
story
what we
more.
saying.
That's a great story. Tell
man,
that more.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that,
great,
bro.
Man.
Like,
and see, old school cats, though, that's what they live by. Like, you know, I had a chance to work with Quincy Jones on Tamir record, and you know, I was in the mix phase of the record, and he walked into the studio, and he was just like, "Yeah, this song needs rain." And I was like, okay, well, first of all, you Quincy, bro, whatever you say.
Absolutely.
This is your artist.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know? And so I immediately start pulling up rain sounds, right? He's like, no, son. No. Hold on one second. So he got on the phone, called this guy named Jerry Hay, which did all the horn stuff for Michael Jackson. So all the stuff we love. Jerry Hay. So he calls him. And he's like, yo, I need you to do something for this on this Tamir record. He said, okay, cool. When? Tonight. He was like, okay, I'm on my way. He's on his way. He gets on the phone and calls this programmer, right? His programmer that creates and makes sounds. Called him. All right, I'm on my way. He said, I need somebody to play it. He said, I need somebody to play it. So he hangs up, calls Greg Philligangs, which is one of the greatest keyboard players we've ever heard of. If you don't know who it is, it's a great research tool. And so I'm just sitting there in school in the middle of a session that I'm already here to produce and work on, and I'm getting an education of what rain is, their interpretation of rain is going to sound like in this song called "Rain on Me." And Greg comes in and he plays the sound that the guy was working on. And then Jerry Hay hands him the parts that he done wrote out. Like, play it like this and make it more staccato and make it more like this. And it's crazy. If you go check out this Tamir song called "Rain on Me," it's Tamir's first album, "Rain on Me," and just listen to the melodic metal sounds. That's the rain sounds that they created.
Wow.
And it made it like,
it just gave it a whole nother vibe.
It gave it a whole nother thing. I never even thought, because, we would just go get rain sticks back in the day.
Yeah.
And just take the big rain stick and hold it, and it just it sounded like
it's
rain.
like rain,
Boom, done. He
Yeah.
was like, no, son, no.
Yeah.
Everybody does that. This is Quincy telling me. Everybody does that.
Yeah.
That's not what I do. That's not why I'm Quincy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And so I'm like, yeah, that's why, that's why I'm PDA, and so you adapt those kinds of things, and so again, you take those old school principles and apply it, so when you hear information and all this kind of stuff, go back and research some of these things. It's a lot of interviews of different old school producers. Check them out, listen to how they came up with bass licks, how they came up with bass sounds, how they come up with, drum sounds, things of that nature. The Lin drum versus the Akai MPC when it first came out, Logic versus Fruity Loops. I mean, it's so much that you can get and do and use, but just experiment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right.
Man, no, I love it, man. I hope y'all, we in school right now in case y'all didn't notice, but we are.
Yeah.
I love that, man. The ability to be humble enough or have humility to actually learn when you're in the room.
Yeah.
A lot of times when people get in those rooms, they feel like they made it. And I'm sure for him to want you to work, you had made it at that point.
Right, exactly. That's how we felt.
Yeah, but
we felt like,
when it's time to learn, I don't care what happens.
Yeah.
Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
Quincy Jones is the reason why I even started doing it.
For sure.
I'm gonna keep it real with you.
Yeah.
I remember. You guys know that watch and listen. My moniker is "Dreams Never Expire." Well, that came from me, the love I have for what Quincy Jones did, because his biggest success, even though he was successful, but his greatest success didn't come till he was 49 years old.
Yeah, man.
So if Quincy would have gave up at age 35, we never would have got the Michael Jackson album.
That's right.
The Off the Walls and the Thrillers.
Yeah.
So I say that to say, regardless of what you may be going through or what position you're in currently,
Correct.
there's an opportunity for you to continue to hone in what your abilities or your gifts are, because when that opportunity hits, that'll be the time you had the worst year of your life. And then the next year, you had the most amazing year of your life. Not just financially, but mentally and health-wise as well, because you're not wealthy unless you're healthy, unless all your relationships are intact, and you have revenue. It takes all three of those to be wealthy. You can be rich, but being rich doesn't mean you're wealthy. It's a big difference. So I want you to understand the difference between the two. So as we wrap up, man, what are some of the things as a producer that you look for in either other producers that you may be interested in working with or signing or something like that, or collabing with, and artists as well?
Yeah. So with producers, it's just about fresh.
Yes.
Yeah. And some musicality. I mean, there's sound packs like left and right, and it does make it easier for people that are actually doing production. So I'm not against AI and all that stuff. I mean, honestly, it's the new wave, and it's the new way. So if you haven't taken any courses on AI, make sure you take courses on AI in every area of your life. So that's a whole nother thing. But just producers that think fresh.
Yes.
Right. Even though you're using the sound packs, how you using the sound packs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everybody uses them different, but most people use them the same.
Yes.
Right. So that's what I look for beat makers and producers. And producers is like, do you have a vision for the song?
Right.
Or is it just a track?
Right.
So does that make you a beat maker, or does it make you a
producer? Yes.
Right. And so those are two different things for me. So we look for beat makers too. Right. Everybody don't have the whole vision. It's like, but that's cool. But if you're a beat maker and you could learn to do it, that's cool too. But either way, it's about fresh,
Yes.
and your approach and stuff like that. Songwriter is like, can you be melodic? Can you be catchy? Can you make a song out of Mary Had a Little Lamb?
Right.
And put something fresh on it.
Right.
Not just create, sometimes not just rewrite, the deepest lyric, right?
Right.
Sometimes it's the most simplest lyric. I just found out the other day this guy that did, it was a bunch of old school TV shows. The same one guy was singing.
I saw that. He saw Full House.
Full House, Family
It's
Matters.
a rare condition. This day. What song was that? Whatever.
Yeah.
He sung like three of the same song.
Right.
Full House. what's the one with Steve Urkel?
Family Matters. Yeah,
Family
yeah,
Matters.
Yeah, it was a bunch of them.
And it was the same dude. And you listen like, that is the same voice.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
wrote and produced all the
of
songs.
them. Yeah.
It's white dude. I saw
exactly.
that. I saw that.
But it was in the simplicity
Yes.
of why they called him.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, because you go back and listen to him, you're like, no, some corny little joints.
Yeah.
But him being corny, he made him a bunch of money.
And we know, you heard me singing one of them. If it come on TV, I'll remember how it would go.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
it's
yeah,
not
you're
about
right.
the deepest lyric. It's
Yep.
the melodic and how catchy you can be. You know, and so those are things that we listen for. And when we're looking for artists and when we're looking for writers and we're looking for anybody. And so like not just Jay, which is PaJam's first artist.
Yeah.
We also had a group called Ramaya, girl group.
Yep.
Right? And it was Beyonce's, her and her dad's first signed artist that they ever had over in Music World, Sony. And, and we were looking for a particular thing. We didn't know what it was, but they had like maybe 150 people try out for this group. You know, and we put them through a boot camp, and they did well, right? And we had a guy group, same thing, 2103, and same kind of thing. We didn't know what we was looking for. We just knew we wanted to do a guy group, and and thus they did well. Right now we got a new guy, and his name is Tyler Schwenk, and he's a pop guy. And I get asked often because where I discovered him at was at a church that has a lot of singers, right? And most of them ask, "How in the heck why did you, what he got, I ain't got,"
right?
And I was like, "I can't tell you. I don't." And they were like, "Well, why? You don't want to give us a secret?" I'm like, "No, he's got something. I don't know what it is, but
yeah,
the world's gonna know what it is when it happens. You know what I mean?"
Yeah.
And so sometimes you can't put your finger on it.
Yeah.
But it is work ethic.
Yes.
It is being daring to be different.
Mm-hmm.
It is trying new things. It is exploring. It is opening up your mind and your artistry to growing and learning. Not just, no, this is what I do. This is what I'm going to, it's not about that. It's about making sure you're the best you, And so he has those things right now. And those are things that Jay Moss had. Jay Moss, at the time was Jimmy, was just hungry. He wanted to come out from the Moss brothers. He wanted to come out from the Clark sisters. He wanted to be him. He had an expression, you know what I mean? And so he had those things, these work ethics, the broad mind and the wherewithal to say, I'm gonna listen. No, Moss, that's too deep. No, Moss, that's not catchy enough. No, Moss, that's too busy. No, Moss, that's too many lyrics. He had the wherewithal to be like, okay, I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to be the best me I can be.
Right.
And so that's what we look for.
That's a beautiful thing. Now, what are some downfalls that you guys may have faced in your career that you would like to maybe
don't trust
shed light
nobody.
on?
Don't trust nobody.
Yeah.
Don't trust nobody, y'all. I mean, I mean that like with all of me. Don't trust nobody. Only trust God. If you believe in God, trust God. If you don't believe in God, trust God. It's the only person you can trust. I don't care who it is.
Yep.
Don't trust nobody, right? And so I'm gonna go here a little bit. And so Jay and I, people are like, how y'all been together so long?
Right.
That's because we both trust God.
Yes.
Right. And then being able to trust God, we were able to. It helps our relationship. It's always, helped us ride waves and things of that nature. But sometimes you will put your faith in people that's the closest to you. I trust this chair. I didn't sit down. When I sat down, I did not look and see if this chair was sturdy. I didn't shake it. I didn't do anything. I just sat down. I put trust in this chair. And some people we put trust in, right? And so we had a guy that was, because PaJam was a trilogy.
Okay,
right?
it was three of you guys.
And we had a guy. Yeah, it was three of us. And we had a guy, man, that his job was to be the more business side of production. So, and so we can stay creative. Somebody that can watch other attorneys and other deals and things of that nature, watch these other wolves that we thought were wolves, watch them, pay attention to them. This is what you look for, things of that nature. And turns out that this dude was the wolf.
Wow.
And when I say don't trust anybody, because people go, well, it just sounds like the typical cliche. You hear all these stories, TLC and so on and so on. And even Teddy Riley, Teddy Riley,
of course.
Even Teddy Riley was like, I didn't make no money until the Michael Jackson record.
Right.
Before that, they would tell me I'm getting $10,000 a track, but I was actually making $150,000 track.
Wow.
They just wasn't paying me.
Right.
You know? And so these stories, so it's like, yeah, it sounds like a cliche, but that guy was his manager. This guy, I named his kids.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So we're talking about family.
Straight time
you know?
family, yep.
And so we're talking about when we know that the management side or the business side don't make as much money as the creative side. We know that.
Right.
And so when you giving people bonuses, but they also stealing your checks.
Wow.
But they also take the bonuses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It changes you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And you go through some real weird places, you know. But then that goes back to trusting God, you know, having something to believe in, which is God, a higher power, which is God. And that's how we believe, you know, because when you look up and you start finding out that it's $6-7 million that was stolen from you, you know, and you're like, wait, how did this happen?
Right.
What was you not paying attention to? You know, and you know, you're like, well, some stuff like, I don't know if people remember the Ray Charles story with Jamie Foxx.
Yes.
And the guy was like, oh, I knew you were skimming off the top.
Yeah, but that's,
You know what I mean? It's like-
skimming ain't the same as stealing, bro.
Skimming off the top is not the same.
No, it's stealing, but it's not stealing, bro.
When Ray reached in that drawer in that movie,
Yeah.
and pulled out them folders and files,
Yeah.
and said, nah, bruh, nah, you know,
Yeah.
this, you ain't skimming no more.
Nah,
you doing it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so that's literally our story.
Wow.
Right? You know, and I mean, it's been some years now. We're still unfolding stuff. We're still changing our names back on stuff. I mean, when, you know, people are going to great lengths of forging your name, that's criminal.
That's
you know?
federal.
That's federal, you know.
Yeah.
And so you're doing stuff where, you know, we're like, yo, we haven't seen a check in 5 years. Where the money? Oh, we've been paying y'all.
Right.
You haven't been getting it? Well, send me the paperwork. And then the paperwork that, oh, yeah, you changed it. No, that's not our signature. That's not my signature. That's not Jay's signature. And so we're talking about 20-something years together, you know. And we're talking about, like I said, naming the kids, putting his kids through college, things of that nature. I mean, so when I say don't trust nobody, don't trust. I don't even remember the original question, but
Hey, you on point.
Don't trust nobody. Yep. That's the number one thing. Don't trust nobody. Make sure you read your contracts for yourself. Make sure you read your contracts for yourself. If you don't understand it, find a way to learn how to understand it, right? Don't just go to an attorney. They're going to tell you what you want to hear most of the time, because you can't trust a lot of people anyway, because they want something out of it themselves.
Facts.
Learn it for yourself. If the lingo seems too deep, then something's wrong with it. Simple as that. When you go to certain lines and if it don't say certain stuff, boom, that means it's too deep. Something's wrong with it, right? And so I'm not saying that from a hurt standpoint, because God has given us, you know, plenty, you know, for somebody to steal that kind of money from you.
And you don't notice it?
And you don't notice it.
Man, you making a bankroll.
God bless us.
Yeah.
You know, and so you just go back and you think about, you know, we can reshoot this movie. That money could have been good.
For seed money.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sure.
And so you think about it like that, but
Yeah.
you know, but the bottom line is, the story is, man, you got to watch everything. You got to listen to everything. You got to pay attention to everything. Absolutely. And though we want to be creative and stay creative, and you think that this person may have your back, it could be your mama. It could be, and I mean that. It could be your mama. It could be your spouse. It could be your significant other. It could be your best friend since y'all were kids. Yep. There's always something that's going to tempt somebody, and you don't know what they may do based upon the situation. Yep. Right? And so that's what I mean when I say don't trust anybody. So do me and Jay trust each other? Yeah, we trust each other, but we trust God first.
Word.
Right?
That makes sense, man. I hope y'all caught that. Yeah. Because a lot of times, especially artists, more so than producers, artists, actually producers too, as you get bigger, because you got so much going on. But I've watched artists, like the artist I had signed to my management company that did extremely well, got her deal and all that, QC and all that. Yeah. I made it where anytime she got a check, I created a company for her. The check was sent to that company, and she had to pay me and sign off every single time, because I never wanted to be a situation where that artist said I took $1 extra. One true story. One time we did a show in Mutlin, South Carolina. Nobody ever heard of it. We didn't either till we went. Mutlin, South Carolina, that's what it was called. Yeah. And literally, I get home from my flight, and I have an extra $20 in my pocket.
Wow.
I Apple paid her $20.
Wow.
She called me like, "Why are you sending me $20?" I said, "Because I got an extra 20. It ain't mine, but it may not be yours, but you can do whatever you want with this 20." Because she said, "Chad, it's $20." I said, No. It's integrity. If I steal $20, what you think I'm gonna do with 20,000 or 200,000? I said, so I want you to know on the up and up that this 20 don't belong to me. So it literally has to be. Now she's like, "You just taking it too deep." I said, "I'm not." I said, "Hopefully you'll never find out from somebody else that I'm never taking it too deep, because it's about it. For me, it's about integrity, which is why I never took one check. Every single check, whether it was millions of dollars or $15, that went to her account, and she paid me. She sent me my money every single time, because I want to make sure that she understood I was not the one that be stealing. That just ain't in me. I take less before I take. That ain't something that ain't mine. I just say, just keep it. Don't worry about it. We good. I'll get it back later. I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. So make sure, I'm saying it so artists and producers, make sure the money goes directly through you first. Now, obviously, back then, y'all were getting checks and stuff like that. A lot of things now are wired. So you can literally have it sent to a company, your direct company. You know what I'm saying? Correct. So make sure that, and managers on the other side, cover yourself. For every single show we did, to this day, I still got the Excel spreadsheets to show where every single expense was and what I paid her, which is highlighted in green, and what all the expenses were and what her bottom line. So the expenses are highlighted in red, and the green, and then I have next to it, this ain't no about it. Right next to it, I said, gave back in cash, X amount of dollars. And then I put a check mark when she's okayed it. But I mean, she check marked it from, I would text her that, and then she would just put a check mark. You know, Apple, you can put, because I didn't want to make, this is documentation for us if we ever got to go to court. You can't never say, I stole 1 penny, 1 red coin. So that's how, managers, that's how you cover yourself, have documentation, because it really covers you both. You get what I'm saying? Because people will get in people's ear and say stuff that's not even true because your artist or your production team, whatever, are on the way up. So they want parts. All of a sudden they didn't believe in them, but now they hit it, everybody believe in it. And I'm sure you didn't came to that before. They didn't believe with y'all at first, then y'all started rolling. All of a sudden y'all got all kind of, y'all sure y'all don't need nobody to hold the door? You know what I'm saying? You don't need a bag packer? I can pack all the equipment up for you. You know what I'm saying? Sure. But there was nowhere to be found when it was time, man. Well, listen, PDA, man, I know you got a flight to catch, bro, but I really want to thank you for even taking the time to bless the city of Milwaukee with your knowledge, because we literally can do this for 3 hours. We literally can sit here for 3 hours and go on and on and on and on. But I just want to thank you for taking the time, man, to come out to the city and blessing it, bro, because the things you guys have done, not just in gospel music, but in pop music and in R&B music, has been groundbreaking. And a lot of us have learned from you guys, not knowing you. It's actually an honor to actually get to actually meet the person I used to listen to and figure out, what did he do there? And that's how I learned how to engineer. I would listen to stuff they did, how they did the you know what I'm saying? So I learned that trick from them, which how I found out they did it was this. They would take the first part of the vocal, cut it about a quarter note in, separate it from the main vocal, and then stretch the vocal, reverse it, stretch it back, re-reverse it, and then you get the I learned that from them. But I had to figure out, I didn't know him to ask, hey, so how did you do the reverse vocal thing? I listened to it and figured it out from y'all on the Operator song. So I used it, if you listen to some of our records that came out, I stole it from him. And I probably owe him a couple dollars. I probably do, I ain't gonna lie. But I stole that from y'all. So it's a pleasure to actually sit down and have this conversation with you, bro, because it's rare that our city gets people of your caliber to come and give them knowledge that you gave them, for those who are in person and then for those who are out there watching. So I want y'all to show some love to PDA. But before you do, I want to say this. In your career, on your journey to success, you are going to doubt yourself. You are going to want to quit. You are going to get frustrated. But God does not give you a dream that he hasn't already paid for. It's just about you being able to do the work to show that you're worthy of it at the end. So if you believe in whatever, I believe in God. I grew up in church. So if you believe in God, know that whatever he gave you in your heart, he gave it to you for a reason. Now, the cemetery is the wealthiest place in the world because so many of us, and when I say us, I specifically mean black and brown people, don't chase what we have inside of us because of fear. And you can't have faith and fear at the same time. So make sure you continue, even at your lowest, to create and to grow, because you can't just go through things. You have to grow through things. So when you get to the end and you sit on the stage talking to somebody like this, you'll understand what the main purpose was for. And then you can then exponentially help somebody else grow, because you can give them the pitfalls like this gentleman just gave us today of what to look out for. Don't trust nobody. I believe that. I'm with that. All right? And y'all know what I say every time as we wrap up. Thank y'all for coming out. And one thing about a dream, it never expires. Y'all be blessed. Peace.